these same photos. So again, as we are going through this sequence, no order in which they're coming in.
Well, I don't know the order. There's some rational thought behind this. I just don't know it. See, now there's that one looks like it's a little farther away. But they got Rover data, which means that the Rover is talking to the lander. So the Rover's communicating. That means the Rover's communication system is in good order. And there were some problems with that earlier. If you recall yesterday, there were some problems with that. So it seems to be in good shape today.
So the Rover should be on the surface of Mars right now.
Right now.
And this is just confirmation of an event that's already taken place.
That's right. Now these images are from a little different angle according to the circle, but they look the same.
When we were talking earlier to Brian Cooper, Rover driver, and Brian was saying that one of the interesting things, and you had mentioned it to me earlier as well, is that the landing ramp on the front is suspended in midair. It's actually floating because the Martian atmosphere is so thick. Didn't fall all the way.
Gravity.
I mean the gravity. It did not fall all the way.
That's right, because we designed these things to be stiff enough to support the rover when it's running down the ramps. And in this case, it was just stiff enough that it didn't actually fall down. Now the rover only weighs 9 pounds on Mars. On Earth, it weighs around 22 or 23 pounds.
Here's a look at the animation of what should have taken place.
Right. Except that in this animation, the rover is going down frontwards.
Right.
The real one is going down backwards.
Is going down backwards.
Now, you want to know why it's going down backwards,
yes,
I bet.
Indeed.
The reason it's going down backwards, there's 3 reasons. One is that front ramp is up in the air, and the rover's weight would easily push the ramp down, no problem. But when the ramp dropped, the rover's software would say, whoop, something's wrong here, and it would stop. And so we don't want the rover to stop at the top of the ramp.
We're getting a whole slew of Rover image engineering packet.
Rover
image engineering. That means there's
from a previous sequence.
That means that there is actually the rover is sending the pictures that its cameras took, which are different than the pictures that the lander camera took.
These are rover images, then?
No, not these.
Not these.
Not these. See, we're still getting getting lander images. Rover images would be of dirt, I imagine, and you'd see a wheel in them probably.
Well, let me ask you then, when we are now looking at a continuation of these frames coming down of an event that's already happened on the surface of Mars, as far as we know, then the vehicle Sojourner is there. It's sitting
already there. But this is a confirmation of that. We don't want to take it on faith.
One of the concerns that was expressed also, even about going off the backside, was that there was still a little bit of that air of the airbag encroaching on the side of the ramp.
Right, and I believe they ran some tests. Well, they did run some tests last week to make sure that even if the ramps didn't deploy at all, or if there were big rocks stuck up against the pedals, that the rover could actually turn and go over the solar panels and clamber over the airbags and get onto the surface. And they tested that, and it was able to do it. Not something we want to do, but for one thing, it scratches the solar panels on the lander, which the lander doesn't like a lot.
Earlier this evening, I noticed that they were testing in the sandbox the procedure for the rover to be going down this ramp before they sent the command for it to do so.
Right.
Can you tell
That's
me
what we have the sandbox for, is to practice these things. And so in this case, there was just a little bit of airbag lopped over onto the ramp. And the engineers were fairly confident that there wouldn't be any problem, because the airbags we have here in the test bed are really old and beat up and stretched and scratched and threadbare. And if the cleats on the wheels are going to catch, they're going to catch in that old airbag material. The airbags on Mars are nice and new and fresh and stiff, and so we expected that the rover would just roll right over it without any problem. Well, we just seem to be getting a lot of these magnetic images here. So let me tell you about why it's going backwards.
Yes.
I said one time the ramp in the front is up, so we don't want to do that. Number 2, the airbags are bunched up in such a way that if the ramp in the front were on the ground, we wouldn't be able to see very well. Oh, there's the back ramp. Okay. No rover. Whoop. Ah, drat. That was the back ramp. So the rover, if it's off the ramp, is farther out than that.
That would be the ramp the rover should have gone down.
The ramp the rover should have gone down. So the rover is probably off.
We're receiving
this
imaging
picture
of the rover at the bottom of the ramp.
They say rover at the bottom of the ramp.
Well, I don't see a rover in that picture.
There's no rover yet. There is no rover in those images yet.
There is no rover in those images
Do you see any rover tire tracks or anything?
No, I can't tell.
Can't
in this view.
This is the same image again and again, it appears.
They're just taking it in different filters because they want to be able to tell the different colors. And so what's going on is he's taking this in just all kinds of different filters. And there's 12 different filters, remember. There's probably 20 or 30 images in each one of these things. And we don't know when. We know the rover isn't stuck on the ramp. Now, that we do know from this picture.
It's not on the ramp, but do we know that it's actually gone off the ramp? I mean, it could still be sitting on the pedal then.
It could. That's right. We don't know yet. Although they'll be able to tell from the rover telemetry how many times the wheels have turned.
Would they already have that information from the earlier packet?
They have it, but they're processing it. There it is. It's on the ramp. It's on the ramp. It's sitting on the ramp.
Ooh.
Okay, it hasn't gotten all the way off yet. All right, they'll just send another command to tell it to go on down.
So right now it is sitting on the ramp.
Almost at the end of the ramp. And so what happened there, I mean, I'll speculate.
It's moving further off, though.
It's moving. Oh, okay, this is the movie. This is the movie.
The movie.
Yeah, this is a movie.
This is spectacular.
Okay, watch this. Here it goes.
2679 is complete, halfway down the ramp.
All right, there it goes. Okay, this is the same picture, just in a different filter.
Flight, we can confirm that our first move halfway down the ramp was successful with no errors.
Okay, so they have confirmation, besides the picture, that it was halfway down the ramp. Now, it still has to get all the way off. And so what they're going to do, I forgot that they did this during testing. They actually made a movie, click, 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 and they can run it as a movie showing the rover getting down the ramp. So hang in there with us. We're going to get some more.
Some more images, a little further off, the first wheels off, and then finally the entire rover off.
But if it's this far, I'm real comfortable.
It's moving.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
moving,
not.
It's functioning. Sojourner lives. And the back ramp is also good to go off because we can see the end of it. So we know that the terrain is safe to get off. And also there's this nice big knobbly rock right close to there. So what they want to do is they won't have to go very far to get the alpha proton X-ray spectrometer on the rock.
Was there ever any doubt in your mind? I know everyone here was so confident all day, even despite the fact that they had the communications glitch, but everyone we talked with, yourself included, was, we'll figure this out. This is not a showstopper.
Right. No, I was telling some of the people that I was on the Mariner 10 mission to Venus and Mercury, and everything that could possibly go wrong with that mission went wrong, and we still went by Mercury 3 times. I mean, everything went wrong, and it took just this incredible ingenuity and hard work of the team to make it go. So that's JPL's specialty. Oh, that's the ASI mast. That's the weather mast.
The weather mast with the windsock?
Just over the little blip on the left, about halfway up, is the windsock.
Yeah,
so we know the mast is deployed and everything's looking really good. I still want to see that last image of the rover on the ground. But even if we don't get it, I'm sure that the rover's on the ground because it wouldn't have stopped.
The folks standing there in mission control are really seeing this at the same time we're seeing it.
We're seeing you on CNN, and your viewers and the whole world are seeing exactly what mission control is seeing in real time. Modern television.
This has certainly turned out to be 2 incredibly exciting days that continue to far exceed.
There's an even better picture of the mast.
Of the mast, again, that's the meteorological experiment. You can't make out the windsock there, though, can you?
Well, it's just a little off the picture to the left. See, you can just see a little white part there, which is the cone. And what's this saying is it's not blowing very hard on Mars.
You can
it's
tell
just hanging
to the viewers if they were to look to the very extreme left of the picture.
Right. There's a little white bar
bar on the top.
And then there's a tiny little
tighter shot of it now. There's a tiny little ball hanging down, it looks like, and that's the windsock. And it's not moving.
It's not moving. And it's not going sideways either. And so one thing you could conclude from that is that this dust storm that's going on in Valles Marineris is not putting very much wind up at our landing site. So that looks pretty good.
It's been a calm day on the surface of Mars.
I should also tell you that the rover May experiment is working. Did Brian talk about that?
No, we did not.
Okay, there's a little experiment on top of the rover solar panel that actually measures the amount of dust that falls on the solar panel. And that
Plate-
experiment is
plate
working,
number.
and they have measured
ahead.
the amount of dust in the air and
number of
compared it with what they're getting from the
correctable
pictures.
errors, those black errors on the spacecraft
And they
has
think
increased
that there is
from
some dust
1.5.
leaking over from this dust storm, but not a whole
Copy
lot.
that.
Oh, so they
it's
are
in very good
experiencing a
shape.
little bit of dust though from the dust storm.
But that experiment is working, which is the nice thing about that.
Are they getting temperature readings yet?
Oh, yes.
From what?
Yes.
What have they been getting as
I
far as
don't know.
temperatures
Tim
from Mars?
Schofield will be reporting tomorrow morning. There'll be, I think, the 10 o'clock press briefing tomorrow is a science-oriented press briefing.
But
And
they
Tim
are
will-
now getting readings as to what the temperature
Right.
is and the wind
And the
speeds
pressure
are and the
and the wind
pressure,
speed. That's
barometric
right.
pressures.
Weather reports from
We can
Mars.
start reporting those
That's
now on
right.
CNN.
That's
the
right.
weather reports on Mars. Well, they can. The images from the lander are continuing now to show that weather instrument
Right.
there.
And again, they're going through it with different filters and slightly different positions of the camera. So that's what's going on.
And there would be about 15 or so minutes left, or 20 minutes left, in what was supposed to be about a 40-minute downlink,
Is it
I
40
believe.
minutes? Okay.
This is what
Mars
they had
Pathfinder
said.
mission.
Flight.
Let's see what he says.
Yep. The camera deploy time is UTC 091420.
Oh, maybe they're going to try to deploy the
Okay.
camera tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's an image. Okay, that's just of the view. See, that's to the right.
This is
of where
Mars
the rover
Pathfinder
is.
Mission Control at the
You
Jet
can see
Propulsion
the little,
Laboratory in
thing out at the
Pasadena,
bottom.
California. There's a
The,
high-gain
circle.
antenna downlink session underway right now that includes, as we see on NASA TV right now, a view of the landscape. Previously, we were looking at the meteorological mast and two of the windsocks that were located at the extreme left-hand side of the screen, both of them pointing straight up, indicating
Telecom flight. Telecom. Can you tell me how our uplink and downlink powers look?
We can see Donna
Our
in that
uplink
picture
power
there.
is minus 121.2.
Nice
the
big
predicted
fat
distance
rocks that might be a
123.3.
wonderful target.
So
It
we're
looks
about
again in that one a little hilly area to the background.
Right,
and,
right.
our
Little
downlink
spiky
power,
things in the background.
actual
Now is the camera, the imager is still stowed. It has
Still
not
stowed.
popped up
It is
yet.
not popped up yet.
So for the viewers who don't understand what we're talking about, that means that it can pop up and get into
Copy
several
that.
more feet higher,
Right,
correct,
right.
and start taking higher
right
images.
now is
Windsocks
taking
reporting straight
images
up
from
indicating
Mars
that,
with
at
its
the time these
chin
images were taken. This is over different
right
times.
on
There
the
were no-
right
there
on
was
the
no wind.
lander's body. But the lander itself is
We
sitting up
also
above the
Saw
terrain a
what
little
looked
bit.
like dice, dark spots on a
dice,
white
that's-
background. Those were
that's the
magnetic
magnetic
targets.
Right.
Right,
This
there's
is a
There's the
calibration
calibration
target.
target.
Dr. Matt Gollenbeck said that we'd expect to see, but we also saw the end of the ramp very early in this downlink. There was no rover there, and there was no tracks on the surface. And that was perhaps a wee bit alarming until the realization of the fact that the rover was not just not there yet. The next image showed the rover partially down the ramp into the field of view, and the image after that showed the rover almost completely down the ramp. And of course, the mission support area, as did other areas of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, erupted when the rover was seen there. We are still waiting. We're probably several minutes away from the rest of the rover deploy images. Literally the world and the scientists are all seeing this at the same time. There's no
As we
delay
had said.
Yes.
between the NASA television feed and the feed that's being supplied to the mission support area and the science area here at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The entire world is watching these images all at the same time.
So while they're doing this,
We'll
there
stand
was
by
a-
and go clean with the feed for the rest of this downlink session. This is Mars
Okay.
Pathfinder Mission Control.
Okay, so what? There was a suggestion we talk about the cameras.
Yes.
Okay, the rover has 3 cameras.